Hi, it's Louise at Spiral Plat Insight. I'm a galactic and an intuitive astrologer, and I want to talk today about the shift of the nodal axis. And this is something that happens every 18 months, and it is when the nodes of the moon shift sign. So we've been working for the past 18 months with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. And as of Saturday, the 11th of January, it's really late, it's almost the 12th for us in the UK. The nodes are going to shift into Pisces, so Pisces North Node and Virgo South Node. Now, I always get quite excited when I'm sort of working with the nodal axis and the nodal energies because they play such a big part in soul astrology and sort of helping us to interpret soul purpose and soul mission. Um, and obviously there is a nodal axis and nodal points within the birth chart. When the nodes change signs, this is at a collective level, so it indicates the energies that the collective are going to be working with for the next 18 months. So this is slightly different. It's going to affect you more if you have natal nodes in Pisces and Virgo. Either way round, if your North Node is in Pisces, you're going to be experiencing a nodal return, which happens every 18 years. If your North Node is in Virgo, you're going to experience a half nodal return, which is more of a check-in point. But certainly, this is a really big deal for us all, particularly as it's going to set the kind of scene, the energy, the backdrop for what is to come in terms of the movement of all the other planets throughout the course of 2025. So when we are working with the nodes, just to kind of give you, some background information, the North Node shows us where we are basically sort of seeking to experience the most growth. The North Node points to our soul's evolution. This is energy that we are yet to really, embrace and get the hang of, get the gist of. It's going to, working with our North Node energy, its placement and the sign, the archetype of the sign, is going to require us to step outside of our comfort zone to really push ourselves. This is about soul growth. So, sometimes the North Node can feel quite daunting, almost like, oh, I can't possibly, that's way beyond me type of a feeling and an approach. But the idea is that as we work towards our North Node energy and placement in the wheel of the birth chart, if we're looking at the natal nodes, this is where our soul has basically agreed to come in and work on and work towards those energies and the themes that they represent. Now, the South Node is energy that we are bringing into this lifetime from other lifetimes. So this is always going to show energy that feels really comfortable, really familiar, something that we have mastered already in previous lifetimes. So it brings a sense of ease, of comfort, of familiarity, but it is also showing us that while we're here to sort of bring it in as almost our, like, this is what I can do, this is what I'm great at, it is also something that we are needing to move away from in order to experience soul growth. Because there is that sort of saying and understanding that if you always stay in your comfort zone, nothing's going to change. You can't really evolve. If you stick with what you're never going to push yourself. You're never going to kind of grow and stretch beyond and fulfill your potential. So the South Node is really what we are moving away from. The North Node is what we are moving towards. And in terms of at a collective level, this is always going to show up energies that really we need to let go of and move away from because they are holding us back in some way. They are preventing us from stepping into our full potential at a collective level. They are preventing us from experiencing all the growth and potential and the growth soul evolution that is there, sort of waiting for us to achieve and to move towards and to master. But we have to, in order to bring in the new and sort of expand, we need to let go to create space. And so anything that is holding us back is going to be highlighted. Now, as the nodes move around, these aren't actual bodies, they are points in the chart. They will always move in retrograde motion. So when we talk about the nodes changing signs, what's effectively happening is that they are moving into 29 degrees of the sign that they are moving into, and they will move backwards back towards 0 degrees as they sort of go through and experience this transit. So they're starting off at the anaretic degree of Pisces this time. And of course, the anaretic degree of Pisces, 29 degrees of Pisces, is the very final degree of the zodiac. And this is a point that in 2025 in particular is going to be activated because Neptune is moving towards that, the 29 degree point of Pisces, and followed by Saturn. So this is kind of a real ending as well as a beginning, sort of a new start, a new fresh energy for us to work with, but also very much working with the final degree of the zodiac, which is absolutely about coming full circle, a real completion energy. So it's quite an interesting point to be working with. Now, what's also interesting is that I actually recorded this video yesterday, but I really struggled to find my flow, and I had loads of notes and I kept sort of stopping and starting, and I went back to edit it, and I just thought, actually no, I can't, this is just not going to work at all. And when I kind of reflected on that, I thought it's because I'm trying to go too much into my Virgo side. Now, I've got a Virgo ascendant, so I like to have lots of structure. I like to have lots of notes, lots of lists, know exactly what I'm doing, make sure I've got all my points, really sort of think things through. My brain and mind can go into overdrive. I'm seeking perfection. I want it all to be nice and ordered, etc., etc. But as we are sort of really effectively moving away from the strong Virgo energy with this nodal shift, we're stepping into Pisces, and Pisces is the absolute polar opposite. With Pisces, you cannot have structure and order and strategy because it really is surrendering to a more ethereal, dreamy, all that is energy and approach. So it made me smile sort of really at myself, because I thought, actually, I just really need to embrace the Pisces energy here, which may be slightly contradictory to my normal approach with the Virgo ascendant, but really just trust and allow the words to flow and sort of just let it all unfold and unravel. So that is what I'm going to do. I have got a few notes here, but not nearly as many as I would normally work with. So when working with the we'll start with the South Node, because that's effectively what we are moving away from. So with Virgo South Node, there are a few key themes that come forward. Virgo is the sixth sign, in the zodiac. It is very much linked to the physical expression of ourselves because it is mutable earth. So this, for me, is the sign of the body. It represents health, healing, well-being, self-care. It also represents, because its ruling planet is Mercury, it's very strong linked to the mind, to sort of thought patterns, to strategy, to intelligence, to analysis, to order of the mind, and to bringing through information, but in a very sort of ordered, structured way. The other sort of themes with Virgo are purification and healing, and really making sure, that the body works in its optimum way, at an optimum level, that all the systems in the body are, sort of working well, which obviously creates good health. Virgo is very much about service as well, but service in a practical way. So if you've got strong Virgo in your chart, you are going to be the kind of person who is super busy, has to have something to do, wants to feel useful, loves to organize, loves to make a list, loves to plan, loves to know what's happening. Again, it's all about bringing order to every aspect of your life, and very much sort of linked to linear time. Obviously, control is a big part of Virgo. But because there is a real tendency to stay in the head with the link to Mercury, there can be anxiety, there can be overwhelm, there can also be this really strong perfectionist streak and approach where everything has to be perfect, everything has to be just so. And if there anything doesn't quite go to plan, that then creates anxiety and mental overload and mental overwhelm. So Virgo needs to understand, needs to come up with a logical answer, is very much sort of based and focused on solutions, and really needs to make sense of everything. So as we're moving away from this energy, we're not necessarily meaning, we don't want order and we don't want control and we don't need structure, analysis, etc. This is more about moving away from the lower expression of Virgo, when the Virgo sort of energy starts to go wrong and is holding us back. So my interpretation of that, and again, I always say this with astrology, there are many different ways to interpret astrology. There is no one size fits all. So it is often very much about sort of seeing what resonates and what relates to your own individual situation. But at a collective level, I feel there's a few themes likely to be coming forward for this. I'm feeling that in terms of the sort of mental overwhelm, anxiety, perfectionism streak, we're possibly going to be encouraged to, or even forced to, let go of the need to analyze and to rationalize everything. I'm kind of feeling that with what's coming forward or coming up over this next 18-month period, there's going to be a lot going on, especially with the Pisces North Node, along with other sort of transits within the chart, that simply goes beyond explanation. It's going to really challenge our sort of sense of reality and our understanding of reality, and we're going to be forced to let go of the need to really analyze and explain everything, to come up for a logical and a rational explanation and reason for what is going on, what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're thinking, etc. And I feel that is going to be part of the process that we're going through at a collective level. So it's not necessarily about letting go of order, but it's more about this need to kind of have everything clear in the head and understand everything to the 9th, 10th, 9th degree. So I feel that is going to be quite key, and there's likely to be situations coming up that really kind of encourage that experience. I also feel, this whole kind of focus, and again, this is not necessarily sort of recent. I think this has been building for a long time, given our lifestyles and the way we live, in today's society. But this whole sort of living in the head, being busy, constantly needing stimulation of the mind, and always having to have something to do, finding it really difficult just to sort of down tools and sit and be and come into the space and meditate. I feel that is also something that perhaps we're going to start moving away from. I wouldn't expect that to change overnight, because I think this is quite embedded in our society in the way that most of us live. But again, I feel there's going to be opportunities to see an alternative approach to try and sort of come into more stillness, rather than having to constantly do things all the time, which obviously creates overwhelm and puts pressure on the nervous system. In terms of health and well-being, and obviously medicines, making sure the body works well, I feel there's going to be quite a big focus on ensuring that we are doing everything we can to keep ourselves healthy. But where, again, because this is the South Node, where there are situations or experiences of sort of either using different approaches to health or different drugs or different medicines that actually aren't serving our greatest good. We may think, or we may be told, that they are helpful and that we need them, to keep ourselves healthy, but where that isn't actually the case, and they are holding us back in some way and sort of restricting or limiting our growth and our movement forward and our evolution forward, then I feel that is also going to come into the spotlight, and we'll be able to choose more discernment and have more informed awareness and informed knowledge. And I'm not going to sort of spell out any more than what I've said, but I'm pretty sure if you're on the same train of thought as me, you can see what potential that may bring through. There's also an opportunity here to start to really sort of bring a more natural approach to healing in as well, because with Virgo, with this whole purification theme, there can be a strong sensitivity to toxins and to other artificial things that we might be exposing our body to. So again, that may also be something that we're starting to perhaps have a greater understanding of, and therefore be able to make the choice to move away from it if we feel that that is for our greatest good. So as we start working with the North Node, and this is really where it gets very interesting, because I shared my thoughts in a video about 2025 and the energies and the main transits that we have ahead of us. And first up was the Pisces and Virgo nodal axis shift. And really, I feel this is going to contribute to, in a massive way, to a great spiritual awakening. I don't think this is the only thing that's happening that is going to contribute, but I think it has a really, really big influence. Because when we're working with Pisces energy, Pisces is the final sign of the zodiac. It is the 12th sign, it is mutable water. And when we're working with Pisces, we are really required to let go of our attachment to the physical, to order, to control, and really step into the void, to that kind of vastness, the kind of all that is energy, really kind of making a bigger connection with our soul, with our higher self, with the unseen realms, with spirit, with the angelics, with spirit guides, whatever it is that we can't actually physically see or touch. This is about having the faith and the understanding that there is so much more to life, to existence, than the physical 3D sort of physical vessel and body, and really stepping into something that is much greater than ourselves. So I feel that with this Pisces North Node, we're going to really be invited to explore our more spiritual aspects of life, of existence. But because we are working, this is an axis, and you can't ever have one sign without the opposing. This is very much about being able to integrate the two. So bringing the physical and the higher self, the spiritual and the higher self further into the body so that we can meet, but coming out of being completely sort of just obsessed with or totally identifying with the body as all there is. Again, this is really stepping towards a more spiritual expression, if that makes sense. Pisces is very mystical, it's very magical, highly intuitive, highly psychic, highly spiritual, and very much sort of geared towards unity consciousness. So moving beyond separation and duality, which again is something that I feel is going to feature quite a big part of this year due to other transits that are taking place. So this is where we sort of make a connection to the universal power, to source energy, to God, to the divine. Again, it is not so much about being religious, because my sort of understanding is that with strong religion there is a real element of control. This is more about connecting to sort of kind of a more universal power, timelessness for sure. And I feel that as we move through this Pisces North Node transit, we are going to start seeing a lot of things that don't make sense, a lot of perhaps time slips or time jumps, timeline jumps, sort of blips in the matrix. Linear time is going to start to play up and not really be as reliable as perhaps it has done before. And this is really because we are moving away from linear time as we ascend into the fifth dimension. And this, I feel, is a really big sort of stepping stone as part of that process. So, definitely we're going to start to question our sense of reality, and there's likely to be a lot of things that just make us go, what on earth is going on? Really difficult to make sense, to kind of give a rational explanation. And I feel that is very much going to be promoted by this nodal transit. Very much a sign of creativity, of compassion, of vision, which again is going to be important because we need to be able to visualize what it is that we want to bring in. We're going to start to understand much more how the mind has such a profound influence on what we can bring in. So this is about manifestation gifts sort of stepping up and those abilities becoming more sort of present and more common. Our psychic abilities are likely to increase and expand. We're going to be able to see into other dimensions if we are ready to do that. We're going to be able to really understand that there is more to life. And again, this is very exciting for anybody sort of who's interested in, galactics and cosmic forces and stuff, and, other areas, because I feel that connection is going to be strengthened. And for those who are ready, there's going to be a lot more sightings of otherworldly beings, phenomena, and so on. So this is very much about sort of being able to trust in the flow, to trust that there is a higher and a greater plan at play, and that sometimes, we have to just surrender and let go of control, let go of needing to understand and to all everything, and to know what's coming and to have a plan. Again, this is really encouraging us to move away from that. I also feel, because Pisces is mutable water, yes, it means there's going to be a lot more water potentially. Water is very emotional, so there could be a lot more tears, a lot more sorrow, a lot more grief being processed. But also, water is incredibly cleansing and purifying. So again, when I was to sort of think back to what I said earlier about health and sort of the toxins and, medication and medical practices that perhaps, aren't serving our greatest good. They aren't the best choice for our bodies and for optimal health as we move forward. Again, there's going to be more things coming to the fore that perhaps give us a choice and alternative options, but also, the purification of toxins that we may have been exposed to is possibly going to be part of this transit. So very much, because we're on the mutable sort of axis now, this is a huge time of change, which we've seen already because there are such huge transits taking place throughout 2025. And really, we are facing the unknown in so many ways. Now, Pisces, as the final sign of the zodiac, which is the traditional ruler of the 12th house, is also linked to secrets. And Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which of course very creative, very visionary energy, but also quite elusive, can create a lot of confusion, very foggy, nebulous. It's quite hard to have clarity when we have strong Pisces. And as we sort of move into, well, we're in 2025 now, but as we move through the first quarter of this year, we've got Neptune is very strong in the final degrees of Pisces. We've obviously got the nodes going to be North Node there, Saturn moving again into the third decan of Pisces. It is going to be quite difficult to really get a grasp on what is truth and what is fiction, what is real, what is fake, what is illusion. It's going to be very difficult to be able to cut through that, certainly for the first quarter of the year. So again, just be mindful of that. It is part of the process in so many ways, but it may create some overwhelm, and certainly, be hard to kind of choose to know which direction you're heading in, perhaps. So very otherworldly energies, lots of synchronicities starting to unfold, which is again showing us that we are shifting gears, we are shifting into a higher reality, a higher consciousness. And also I feel that this North Node placement is going to really help us to remove barriers to other realms, to other dimensions. So again, this is about opening up our understanding, our consciousness, and really our connection to something that is greater than us, which is part of our human evolution ultimately. We're moving from having a real sort of attachment to form to ultimately being formless. But for me, and my understanding is that, this is sort of losing and shedding density to become more crystalline. So we're allowing more light in, which again aligns with the Pisces North Node. So as I said, with the axis, this is about integrating the energies. So really, this is about bridging the, sort of between the spiritual and the physical in order to bring both into more alignment. And it is about releasing density, really seeing how sacred embodiment is the purest and the greatest form of service, both to the divine and to the physical, sort of in practical and spiritual service, which is such a key note of the Virgo Pisces axis. So this is happening on the 11th of January for most of us in the world, and these the nodes will stay in these signs for 18 months. So we've got this basically until about June, July 2026. as the nodes move back through these two signs, there are going to be some fixed star connections and activations that they make. And before I sort of go through the galactic stars, obviously the North Node is going to meet Neptune quite quickly because Neptune is moving towards the end degrees of Pisces. So again, this is going to almost enhance the Pisces energy, make it even stronger, even more impactful. The North Node will then meet Saturn in Pisces and will come into a trine with Jupiter in Cancer. And on the other side of the axis, the South Node is going to come into a trine with Uranus in Taurus. But it's actually, in terms of galactic astrology, this is where there are an awful lot of events and activations taking place. And what I will probably do, I'm just going to give you a really quick overview for the sake of this video. I will be coming on throughout the year to really go into some of these alignments in more detail, and of course they're going to feature in the sort of regular new and full moon charts interpretations that I share as well. So first up, we're going to have the Pegasus constellation, and this is the final degrees of Pisces. So Sheat at 29 degrees is going to be the first star that is activated by the North Node. So this again is just adding an extra layer of multi-dimensional frequency, really asking us to step out of linear time, to release and break free of those bonds and attachments and chains that have kept us sort of trapped perhaps in the 3D, really asking us to rise up, to see the path ahead, to really trust in where we're going, to have faith, to be able to see beyond the horizon almost, and to really grow our wings and start to fly. So really, really magical energy here, very prophetic, very visionary. Then we will have Achenar in Eridanus and also Anchor in the Phoenicis or the Phoenix star system. Both stars I've talked about quite regularly as they have been aligned with Saturn over the past few months. But Eridanus is a very elemental, sort of magical energy, very much linked to nature and to the river symbolism. So this again is encouraging us to really step into more flow, to trust in the process, to understand and have faith that we are all heading to the same destination ultimately, which is a connection with source and something bigger and outside of us, outside of our physical expression and experience. But that, we are on this journey, and the path or the road, the flow, as with the river, can take many different twists and turns. It can go at different speeds. We don't always know which way, which sort of direction we're going, but we know we're going ultimately to the same destination. So again, very magical energy there. The Phoenix energy really sort of encouraging us to let go, which is very sort of Pisces. You have to, when you get to the end of a cycle, you have to be willing to let go in order to create and rebirth something new. So those are the stars in the Pisces sign. There will be trines to Alpha Centauri, which will happen again at 29 degrees, Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio, which is really connecting us to the Lemurian frequencies, to inner earth, to crystal structures and all the wisdom and codes that are stored within crystals, to building something that is tangible, that is lasting, that is solid, that is going to really see the course and see the distance. And also to sort of working with sovereignty and breaking free of sort of understandings, mindsets, anywhere where we've been controlled or held back. Again, although this is the North Node, these star energies are really helping us to claim our sovereignty. And there will be trines with Procyon in Cancer, which is a very sort of futuristic energy, and I'll be talking about that in the full moon video that is coming up after this one. A trine with Hadar in Beta Centauri, energy of unconditional love, of collaboration, of a connection to nature, really, really beautiful. And trines to Sirius star system in Cancer, Canopus in Carina, and then later Acrux and Shapley Attractor. So I will come on and talk about those sort of as we move through the year. The South Node is going to meet with Alces in the Crater constellation, which is the chalice or the cup, and there's really strong associations with the Holy Grail with that particular star. So I will come on and talk about that in more detail. Thuban in Draco, which again is about 7 degrees of Pisces. 7 degrees of Virgo. This is dragon energy. Again, sort of encouraging us to work with both shadow and light and to sort of come into a state of neutrality, very protective energy, very transformative, shape-shifting, purifying. So again, that's going to be really supporting us to let go of what no longer serves. And then with the trines, particularly with Uranus, there will be trines with Algol, with Capulus in Perseus, with the Pleiades, Andromeda, Parvo, which is a peacock, and obviously the Lyra constellation. So there's going to be a lot of activations over this time. And both stars are going to be coming into squares with the galactic center initially, 27 degrees of Sagittarius. Then the great attractor at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, and all the stars in the Orion cluster, Polaris, Razzlehag, Capella, Nihal, and so on. So again, lots to share coming up, but it's interesting to see how big a part the galactic and fixed stars, galactic energies and fixed stars are going to be sort of contributing to this transit. So I hope you can sort of see and share my excitement about this particular sort of part of astrology for this year and into next year, because I just feel it's going to be a really profound time as a backdrop really to all the other major shifts that are going on. And obviously, that 29 degrees of Pisces is going to be in the spotlight certainly for the first part of this year, so the next few months. So we'll see what that brings to us at a very collective level. So I'm going to leave it there. Just a reminder that the Quantum Soul Guidance Summit 2025 is happening next week. If you've not already registered, I would recommend that you do. I'll put a link to the website in the description box below. It is running from Tuesday evening UK time. So it will be obviously early in the day for the Pacific time and the American time zones, etc. It is running for a number of days next week. All the details are on the website. Even if you can't attend live, I would recommend or really urge you to register, because you will then be sent the replays and you can watch them sort of in your own time. There's 30 speakers in all. We've all got different subjects and topics that we're going to bring to the summit. There's a list and a schedule again on the website, which is going to be in the description box below. I am speaking and presenting on the Tuesday night, the first night. I think I'm the second to be featured, and I'm going to talk about galactic astrology and really go back to basics and sort of give you my interpretation of what it is and why it's important and how we can use it, and give you some tips on how to sort of look at and approach your own galactic chart. So I'm really excited to be a part of that, and yeah, I say just please do sign up because it really is it's a very exciting event, and hopefully it'll be the first of many. Huge gratitude to Julia and her team for creating it and bringing it to life for everybody really. So yeah, very exciting. And also, if you are not already on my mailing list, I do have a sign up form on my website, spiralbright.co.uk. I send out sort of fairly regular updates as to what is going on, bringing in the fixed stars along with the traditional astrology to give you an idea of the energies at play. So if you're interested in this kind of content and you want to hear from me on a more regular basis, please do sign up for that. I've just changed to a new system, so you will need to confirm your subscription. So you should get an email which may go to your spam. So please do make sure you confirm that, otherwise you won't be added to the list. So yeah, I know a few people have not done that second process, so they're sort of sitting in my unconfirmed box. But anyway, if that's you and you want to just send me an email and say, can I confirm you? I will. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I hope you found this useful, giving you food for thought. If you have got your nodal axis in Pisces or Virgo, this is going to be quite a profound time for you. And just to remind you, I do readings to help you sort of explore and interpret and navigate these sort of transits in your own birth chart and how they're showing up for you at an individual level. So please, always check out my website if you need any support or help. I'm going to leave it there. Very exciting time. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.